Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dan Lindblade. Welcome to our broadcast. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Chamber's Multiple Pathways to the American Dream webinar, sponsored by Broward County Public Schools and Broward County Technical Colleges. We look forward to spending the next hour together, and we believe the information you'll hear today can significantly help anyone searching for high-paying and fulfilling career that does not require a four-year degree. Joining me today are Broward County School Superintendent Robert Runcie and CareerSource Broward President and CEO Mason Jackson as our two keynote specialists that we have. And we also have other presenters on the platform today. Kara Page, the Chief Human Resources Officer for Broward Health Medical System, and Aviv Tsur from the Aviation Association to deal with our IT, and of course, Lynn Goldman from Broward Technical Colleges, all here today to talk to you. The time permitting, we will allow for as many questions as we can. You'll be using your Q&A feature at the very bottom of your screen. You can also use your chat function to talk to each other during this webinar for about the next hour. So if you do have a question and you want to pose that to our panelists, please make sure that you do that. We'll be monitoring those questions and answer as many as we can. So the first 30 minutes, we're going to have a series of videos that we're going to play for you from our specialists. We're going to have some Q&A at that time, and then at the end, we'll get to as many questions as we can. Before we get to the speakers, though, I'd like to recognize the Chamber's Education and Workforce Development Council, which organized this great event. Thank you to all the council members, led so capably by our council chairman, Andy Fernandez, who's on the platform as well with us today. The program could not be possible, of course, without the great support from Broward Public Schools and the Broward Technical Colleges. To share a greeting on behalf of Broward Technical Colleges, I'm pleased to present a short video from Lynn Goldman.
On behalf of the administrators and my colleagues at Atlantic, McFadder, and Sheridan Technical Colleges, the Broward Technical Colleges, we're very proud to sponsor this event today, and we extend our wishes that all of you are in good health and are safe. We also want to thank the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber's Education and Workforce Council, our speakers and moderators today for helping to pivot this to a very timely virtual event. And I want to also give a shout out to Mike Cabello for handling all of the technology. So why is a technical college an important choice and a smart choice? Well, it's where you learn a skill and you get to follow your passion. We train in high-skill, high-wage, high-demand careers. 90% of our programs can be completed in less than 1 calendar year. With the over 65 different programs that we offer, the majority of them cost less than $5,000. We have financial aid, and we are part of the Florida Prepaid Program. There are over 30 million jobs in the United States that pay an average of $55,000 a year and do not require a college degree. Pre-COVID, there was $1.6 trillion in student debt in the United States, partly because the average bachelor's degree cost $29,800. 50% of college students drop out. After graduation, a third of them are working in jobs that do not require a college degree, and 5 years after graduating, they are still working in jobs deemed underemployed. Mike Rose said recently, when things get back to normal, this country is going to enter a new age of making things and fixing things, an age where skilled workers are deemed in demand like never before. If you are a skilled person with an entrepreneurial spirit, a willingness and a curiosity, you will be a success. We at the Broward Technical Colleges want to be part of that success for you on one of our 8 different campuses. For 4 years in a row, we have awarded more industry certifications than anyone else in the state. Check us out at browardtechnicalcolleges.com, where we hope to answer all of your questions. Thank you again for this opportunity, and we hope that you enjoy this quick 30-second video.
Be hardworking and courageous. Be trained to turn challenges into opportunities. Be essential and join the heartbeat of South Florida with a career in a year or less. From Broward Technical Colleges, choose from 65 programs for a fraction of the cost of private institutions and see how you could qualify for scholarships or financial aid. What you can do today will improve your tomorrow. Get essential career training at Broward Technical Colleges.
Very nice. Thanks, Lynn. That was a great video to set us up today. You know, I've been working at the Chamber for 13 years now as its president and CEO. I've seen the good times, that we had the longest expansion moving up to COVID-19, to the worst of times, where we are right now with high unemployment, a lot of us out of work, a lot of us waiting to get those unemployment checks from the state and that additional stipend from the federal government. So I know there's significant pain out there, and we need to find places for everybody. And some of us need to retool. Some of us need to reconsider where we're going. We're going to talk a lot about that today. So what we've tried to do is set up a series of videos that are going to help whet your appetite for what you might be able to do in making a career change that isn't all that expensive. And that's why I think it's so important for us to watch and hear from these experts today. And I also want to recognize one other thing, that during this COVID-19 pandemic crisis that we've been dealing with, and we've been seeing a recent uptick in those, we've also been dealing with a lot of different types of pain and suffering going on from our Black community, with the racial inequality that's been going on. So we have all of this coming together, creating a lot of pressure on all of our citizens. Unemployment, racial injustice, a lot of real personal issues that we know you all are dealing with. And we want you to know that the Chamber, the school board, and other organizations are doing our best to make sure that we facilitate dialogue and create opportunities for you. We understand, we hear you, and we want to make sure that you understand that we hear you. But moving forward, I want to move on to our manufacturing industry. And as you saw in the video, the path to becoming an essential employee is waiting for all of those who are interested. So let's get to our industry expert, and we'll begin today with manufacturing. In another one way or the other, manufacturing industry touches nearly every part of our lives. So let's hear from Matt Rocco, President and CEO of the South Florida Manufacturers Association. Matt?
Great to be here with everybody. It's an exciting time to be able to really, I think, talk about what I think is the best kept secret, which is manufacturing. I use that in a good way, but not in a good way, because sometimes not the best kept secrets always aren't the best. But, you know, thank you for this opportunity to really come and discuss manufacturing, you know, what it is, the neat career paths that are available, the opportunities that are available. I always like to give it context, because some folks have a perception of manufacturing, some may not totally understand what it is, but it really is taking the raw processes of materials, or, you know, the actual materials itself, and transforming them into something else. And it's a broad term because manufacturing itself can be defined very liberally. And a lot of people also think manufacturing might be its own separate entity, but it really touches a lot of other industries that people may not be aware of. So when you think of manufacturing, you could touch aviation, you could touch marine, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, nutraceuticals, the areas that have gaming and robotics, and really the cool stuff that we see happening out there is really manufacturing. And to put it in perspective, everybody joining today are going to be using something, their smartphone or their laptop or whatever computer, that was manufactured. That's a manufactured product. The very things that you're sitting on, your chair, someone made that. So it's all about thinking about different things, and especially for the youth and those into some of the energy type supplements and energy drinks. If you're familiar with the company Bang Energy Drink, that's actually manufactured here in Broward County, in Weston. So it's really cool to think of some of the neat things that we may not think about that are being manufactured here. So when we think about manufacturing, the job potential and the areas of interest, if you're a gamer, if you love robotics, if you love those types of areas, That's some advanced manufacturing, some really high level stuff that you can actually, you're not in you're not in an area where there's a perception of manufacturing is all about sweaty jobs and this and that. There's some real clean manufacturing and other things that really can be a benefit to those. And there's countless examples, really, of different types of manufacturing. But the education part of it, manufacturing, you don't necessarily need a bachelor sometimes. You don't need a master's degree. You don't need a doctorate. There's a lot of jobs with manufacturing where you can go to one of the wonderful technical colleges that we have here in Broward County. You can go to Broward College, one of our outstanding state colleges that continuously are in the top 10 of the nation for state colleges and community colleges. So there's many tracks that you don't have to go to school for a long time. Some of them could be a year, some could be 2 years, depending upon how advanced you want to go. It could be longer. But the point I want to make is that less debt, least amount of time in college or in a certificate, but your earning potential is pretty high. It's very high. And I want to give you some statistics, and I'll read them because I don't want to misstate them. So if you're looking for something and you're coming right out of high school and you may have some experience or may not a lot of experience, and you have an employer that would hire you right out of high school and give you on-the-job training, and they like you like them, you could work in a pretty significant manufacturing, and your salary could be, depending upon it, well into the mid-30s, close to 40s. And if you are looking into a machinist type position, those are in high demand. So those can pay, upwards of 18 or so an hour. So there's some really in-demand things. If you, go to get a degree that's a 2-year, or you go for 4 years of education beyond high school, now you're into the 40s. And if you have experience and you're, have a degree 4 more years after that beyond high school, plus your work experience, the data that I look at suggests you're in the mid-60s. So there's a really good career in manufacturing. And a fun fact that not a lot of people know is that manufacturing, when you look at the state of Florida and you look at the highest wages, average wages by industry, so you aggregate everything, manufacturing is the 3rd highest in the state. So I'll repeat that again because not a lot of people know this, and it might be eye-opening, but manufacturing yields, on average, for the industry, 3rd in the state for the highest average industry wages. So that's a fact that not a lot of people know. The pathway, there's so many different pathways that you could take. Again, technical college, Broward College. You can get a job with an employer and they want to send you for an apprenticeship program. Apprenticeship programs are a great way to get hands-on experience. You're working at the same time, so you earn money, and you're going to school at the same time. So you're not out of the workplace, you're earning money, less debt. It's a great way to make a great career path for manufacturing. And I'll share another fact with you as well. Not a personal story for me, but a story that I actually just found out today, actually, through a dear friend of mine. His son is an apprentice right out of high school. Started here in Florida, got transferred to the west coast of Florida, so he started in Broward County, but working in the marine industry for manufacturing on big engines, diesel engines, huge engines that not everybody has the luxury of working on. And he started out as an apprentice. He was making $15 an hour. Then after 90 days, they bumped him up to $18 an hour. Now he's going to be full-time with benefits, and he's going to be earning into the $40,000 range. And he's not yet 21. He'll be 21 in a couple months. So think about that opportunity where you can earn into the $40,000. You're relatively young. It's a great career that you can advance pretty fast. In this industry, along with there's an aging workforce issue. So as those age out, the younger folks will be able to step in. So there's a great trajectory in manufacturing, and it's a great career. And think about the cost of college. So you can save a lot of money by having a certificate program, going to a Broward College or a technical college where you're not spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on school debt. So you come out with little debt, great earning potential, great way to start a family. It's a fantastic way for manufacturing. And you can actually make a difference in a lot of manufacturing companies, what you produce, because people use that. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. That's great perspective from the Manufacturers Association. And I was thinking, Mason, in all that you do at CareerSource and helping people and helping employers match together, what do you see from the manufacturing sector right now? And make sure you turn yourself off of mute, Mason.
Sorry about that, Dan. Well, we're seeing manufacturing jobs holding steady right now. But for the future, we think there's a very bright future in manufacturing. The COVID-19 situation and some of the tariff wars have convinced manufacturers that they need to bring their supply chains closer to home and be able to access inventories more readily. Some of the businesses, especially manufacturers, found that when their supply chains cut off during the COVID-19 pandemic, that they didn't have spare parts to produce things. And so I think what you're going to see is as a global response of people pulling their manufacturing supply chains back to their countries or the regions. So I think the future is very bright here for manufacturing, and one of the things that Matt could have talked about was the fact that if you are, for example, a machinist, and you want to go live somewhere else in this country or maybe even internationally, you'll be able to get a job. There's a great demand for these kinds of things, and you will have mobility.
So we have a broad spectrum of folks on the platform this afternoon. Superintendent Runcie, your focus obviously is on your students. What is the Broward County School District, one of the largest school districts in the United States? What are you guys doing to prepare students for maybe a career in manufacturing?
Yeah, so I will tell you that we have about 15,000 industry certifications that we award annually in Broward County schools from K through 12. With about 45,000 students that are enrolled in over 60 different programs that we have. And these programs are in all of our high schools. Many of them, go for 4 years, and they lead us into our technical colleges, which Lynn gave a great overview of. Our technical college is actually part of Broward County Public Schools, where we have over 175,000 adults that go through it each year to take advantage of those programs. And by the way, our technical colleges are also, they issue more industry certifications than any other institution in the state, and they've done that for 4 years in a row. So when you look at Broward County, this is really the place that offers those opportunities. And I'll give you a story of, that really shaped my perspective on the fact that the ideal situation for every student is to get a high quality education, be able to position yourself for career and or going on to a 2 or 4 year institution, but to also be able to get some technical skills in addition to everything else you're doing. We had a student once, and Lynn can remember this story. He went on to one of our finest higher ed institutions, I think one of our Ivy League schools, graduated from McFadder, I believe, and he had earned his certifications in IT, computer networking. And so when he got on campus, there was a job posting for a network engineer to help manage the university's network infrastructure. He applied for that job, was able to actually get that job, receive a fairly significant salary while he was going to college at the same time. So, given what we've seen with the impact of this pandemic on the economy, the one message that our students need to take away from this is that you have to put yourself in a position so that you're multi-talented and you're flexible and are able to deal with different situations. So if you've got some good certification, technical skills, and you happen to, your business that you're currently in happens to go and lay off or get severely impacted by a financial crisis, you've got some other skills that you could lay on. So you're not really in the vulnerable situation. I think that mentality is what our kids need to go in. They need to think of themselves of acquiring a variety of skills and a certification or two so that they can adapt to changes in the marketplace.
Thanks, Bob. And I was looking over at our Q&A, and I want to ask our panelists all to keep mindful of that Q&A. As you see those, you may see something that you can answer when you're making your comments. But one of the questions from Kiefer was, how old do you have to be to get these industry certifications? Is there an age prerequisite? Lynn, do you know that, or Bob?
I do know that, thank you. There is not a prerequisite for most of the programs. Commercial vehicle driving, obviously you would be old enough to have to do that, and our fire academy. The other programs do not have an age requirement.
Thanks, Lynn. And I want to remind our audience that you can go to the Q&A function to ask questions of our talented panelists. You can find that at the bottom of your screen. Next, let's hear about an industry that's literally taking off in terms of the jobs and skills needed to keep it running. Aviv Tsur, president of the Greater Miami Association, talks about careers that help put aircrafts in the sky.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aviv Tsur. I am the president of the Greater Miami Aviation Association. We are an organization of over 300 aviation companies that was founded in 1927. And the main purpose when we were founded was to create the Miami International Airport that came into fruition in 1928. Since then, we represent the interest of the aviation industry in South Florida, as well as support students with who are wishing to have careers in aviation as pilots, mechanics, and we help them with significant scholarships. Wanted to tell you today about our exciting aviation industry. I have over 28 years experience in this industry in South Florida. I have owned and operated 3 of my own companies in the MRO segment, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul of airplanes and certain parts. In Miami-Dade and Broward alone, today, we have over 500 such businesses. 500 businesses that support the aviation industry. And so plenty of employment opportunities. The average salary for a mechanic today in our industry is over $92,000. Think about it for a little while. And in order to be an aircraft mechanic, an engine, what we call a power plant mechanic, you do not need a college degree. All you need is what we call A and P license, airframe and power plant, or you can have A or P license, so you can repair either airframe or the power plant. You don't even need to have both. Aviation companies will be hiring even more so in the aftermath of Corona, because a lot of the old guard baby boomers that have been in this industry for a long time are leaving. And so there's going to be a need for young blood, and there's plenty of apprenticeship program available. There's plenty of programs available in technical colleges as well as universities. You don't have to go for the full 4 years. And as I said before, the GMA is very, very supportive with scholarship to young aspiring aviators. On a personal note, I can tell you that my 2 mentors in this industry never went beyond high school in their education. Those were 2 fantastic people that have reached very, very high level in airlines, and then later on established their own private business. I was lucky enough to become their partner. I myself have a college education, but they mentored me about what it is necessary to become successful in the maintenance industry. So in short, I want to tell you that, again, my message is, if your calling is to go to a university and get a degree, that's fine. We all know it's very time consuming and expensive. I think you can, if you're interested in aviation, you can achieve great success by becoming a mechanic, becoming a pilot, becoming a technician, and apply those skills in our industry and in South Florida, where we have plenty of employment.
Thanks, Aviv. Another fast-growing industry with an incredible need for new talent and innovation is information technology, better known as IT. Greater Fort Lauderdale is developing into a tech hub. There's no doubt there is need for folks in that field, and it touches everyone on a daily basis. Boy, I know I use my computers, my phone, everything every day. Without them, I don't know where I'd be. Even now, my iWatch or my Apple Watch that I use very much. So let's see from Cecil Kidd, President and CEO of Tech Lauderdale. Let's hear from him right now. Mike.
Hi, I'm Cecil Kidd. I'm the CEO of Tech Lauderdale. We're the tech council representing the Greater Fort Lauderdale region. We engage in networking, events, education, advocacy, and community support. We work closely with our community partners and educational institutions. We're striving to develop Broward County and South Florida into a nationally recognized technology hub. As more and more companies turn to technology for solutions and advance their digital transformation timelines, the demand for technology professionals remains high. While a number of the professional positions do require a bachelor's degree, there are a lot of opportunities out there that don't. Just to list a few: tech support specialists, computer support specialists. Those are individuals that assist other non-IT employees with computer issues. Network support specialists, or a network administrator supporting the overall setup and maintenance of the network. Computer programmers, those involved in coding. Telecommunications technicians. We're rolling out 5G, and more individuals are needed in that fast-growing industry. Web developers. We need more and more individuals that are designing and maintaining the websites that we all go to every day. And of course, digital marketers, people who utilize the social media networks to get out companies' messages. And last but not least, the graphic designers that help create the wonderful images that we see online. Now, all these positions don't necessarily require a collegiate degree or a bachelor's degree. There are many ways to attain the training, whether it be online, your local colleges, and training centers. One area that ensures that industry knows that you have the understanding of these areas are certifications. So I would suggest that all of you look into the various offerings out there. Many of you have heard of CompTIA with their IT fundamentals, their A+, their Network Plus, Cisco with Cisco Certified Network Associate, and Microsoft, who has recently switched all of their certifications and have a group of fundamental certifications available for those that really have no IT background at all. So don't let your son or daughter, or if you're the student, don't be discouraged if you don't want to run straight off and go get a bachelor's or higher degree at the university. There's some great opportunities in technology today with some additional post-secondary training right out of high school. I will be staying on and available to answer questions this afternoon. Thank you for taking time to join us today.
Thank you, Cecil. Now, let's talk a little bit about the whole technology area and aviation, avionics. Aviv, one of our listeners or one of our viewers had questioned whether or not there was a specific area that women may be going into in aviation. Do you see any of that? Is there an attraction to women, or is it still mainly a male-dominated field?
Yeah, I love this question because more than 50% of our scholarship recipients over the last few years have been women. And they apply to professions such as pilots, mechanics, control tower operators. I mean, we don't really see any gap here. As a matter of fact, if anything, just judging by our scholarship recipients, there's more women than men.
Great, thanks for that. Mason, on the job board, you're watching that closely right now as you see these jobs start to come back for South Florida, especially Broward County. Are you seeing a lot more IT need from companies, or is that still soft? Where are we with the IT job workforce right now?
Let's see here. Get off of it. Can you hear me?
I got you. You're on. You're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, that's great. Information technology right now is down a little bit, but all of these will come back because every company is a technology company, one way or the other. So sometimes in a group of businesses, I will say, how many of you are technology companies? And a few will raise their hands, and I say, I got news for you. You're all technology companies because you're all using technology.
Right.
Information
You
right
know
now.
what, Mason, when I talk to CEOs now, what keeps them up at night, you know, that proverbial question we always get answered or asked, a lot of them are saying pirates, corruption that comes through cybercrime. And that's the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta president, Dr. Bostic. He said that's his major concern right now, is protecting his data. Cities protecting their data. So huge need for that all over. Superintendent Runcie, you've put together an incredible STEM program at the school system. Talk to us a little bit about what the outcomes have been for you there and where that's going.
Yeah, so just a lot of different STEM opportunities in Broward County schools at almost every single grade level. You take computer science, for example, we have last I checked, over 50,000 students who were engaged in computer science. If we roll that back to about 5 years ago, we had less than 1,000. So we start as early as our primary grades. We have kids going through that, and just because it applies to just about every career path that you can imagine. We have robotics programs that start well into our middle school years as well. So just a plethora of them. Anyone can go onto our school district website and it'll list in our innovative programs pages all of the innovative programs, the STEM programs in particular, that are available at our schools throughout Broward County. So we're pretty proud of the extensive offering that we have out there. And then when you go back and you look at our industry certifications, we try to align those to what's going on in the marketplace. So some of our most popular ones are the culinary programs. Obviously, we're in a health and hospitality rich industry sector here in South Florida. Engineering is also a big one, health sciences, but IT and cybersecurity are pretty big. In fact, we started a cybersecurity program in partnership with the FBI a couple years ago out at one of our high schools, and it's now expanded to additional schools across the district. So that's a pretty hot area for our kids right now, is a cybersecurity piece. So just a lot of good things going on there to make sure that our kids are really prepared for those emerging opportunities in the marketplace.
Dan, if I could, I'd like to just go back and answer the question about aviation, to let people know that the instructor at Atlantic is actually a female. And there are women in the avionics program that we formed in partnership with the city of Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and that's a very new program. We just launched the first phase of that, and that's going to be expanded. We're also looking for an opportunity to locate part of that school and offering at an actual airport in a hangar situation. So again, our work is really about getting our kids hands-on opportunities, and there's enormous demands in the aviation industry. So that's a very specific focused area for us to build opportunities for our students as we move forward. And that is, again, a lot of different careers that are emerging in the aviation industry, very high paying jobs in significant demand. And I know the aviation industry's been impacted by the pandemic, but clearly that's not going to be a long-term situation. By the time you get into a program now and come out of it and get the certifications, you'll be primed to take advantage of what's happening in the market.
And Dan, if I may, just to
Please.
add to what Lynn said, the person in charge of the aviation program at Florida Memorial University is Vina Simonette. The person in charge of the aviation program in Broward Community College is Carla Pinto. And both of them are, of course, very, very excellent ladies that have let a lot of students graduate with degrees in aviation. So, like I said, you know, we are gender blind when it comes to people qualifying for careers in aviation.
Thank you, Aviva. As a matter of fact, I just got a text during this because my wife is on the platform and she says, I'm thinking about changing careers. So, you know, this is what it's about, stimulating thoughts and ideas about stuff that people never thought about before. And what I say to people too is do something that hits you in the heart, that you're passionate about, because just going to a job every day, that's no fun, because what you're really looking for is something that's fulfilling, that you don't have to go into work with your hands on the steering wheel saying, I feel good, I feel great, trying to convince yourself you're going to a job that you like. There's nothing worse than going to a job you don't like. But let's move on a little bit here. Let's move on to an industry that has been on the front line for us. That is healthcare. Healthcare, we've seen the videos of this pandemic and how it has affected our healthcare professionals out there, how it's affected our families. We want to touch on it because we know that millions of people play a vital role in the healthcare system and moving things across in Broward County. It's one of our top economic industries for the nation, and definitely one here. So we're going to hear from Kara Page, Chief Human Resources Officer for Broward Health Medical Center, as she explains the story of a career path and similar roles in healthcare industry. So Mike, roll that, please.
Thank you for having me. My path to human resources was unique. I started as a summer intern in the sales and marketing department of a global transport and logistics firm. During the internship, I was asked to assist the human resources department with open enrollment and immediately found my passion. I haven't left human resources since. Through a number of opportunities, I found my way to healthcare. It has been my honor and privilege to support our healthcare workers. When people think of healthcare, they often envision doctors and nurses. There are a vast number of non-clinical roles that are key to patients having the best experience when receiving care. These include patient access specialists, distribution technicians, and communication specialists, just to name a few. Healthcare is an exciting field with many opportunities for growth and development for passionate individuals.
Thank you, Kara. And you notice that we weren't focused on what? Nurses and doctors. We're talking about all the support systems that come into healthcare. There's thousands and thousands of jobs in that area that are related to healthcare and so critical to the entire system that we have out there. As a matter of fact, we got a question from a 50-year-old employee who was interested and is currently unemployed, who was interested in going into the healthcare arena. And I queried Broward Health about that position, and they were saying, well, what other positions are there? So we have patient access, guest relations, environmental services, nutritional services, assistant administrative roles to all of those executives in healthcare. It's important to note that many healthcare organizations offer additional training and even tuition assistance for these jobs to train their personnel. What I've found over the years is putting money back into your workforce is job number one. So I'm only as good as the CEO of the chamber is my employees who I work with. If my colleagues don't have the correct training, if they don't have the exceptional skills to develop, the chamber is not going to thrive, and that's what we're looking to do. So Mason, let me ask you a quick question here as it relates to healthcare. What are you seeing from CareerSource as far as the needs in the healthcare industry?
Well, it's huge. We remain a destination of choice for retirees. People are moving into Florida at the rate of almost 1,000 people a day, coming into Broward County at about 43 a day, and they're of course in need of health care. And so this is a huge growth industry in this area. So I would tell people that beyond the careers that you talked about, there are some that you might not think of right off the top of your head, like claims adjusters and examiners and investigators, sales representatives, wholesale and manufacturing, and even web developers and food service managers. So there's a variety of occupations in the healthcare and life sciences industry that might not jump to foremost in your mind.
Thank you, Mason. You know, no matter where we go, someone involved with construction has played a role in building what's around you. I remember when we had the safer in place rules that came down on those emergency orders, we still saw the constructions out there working. So from being a general contractor to developing a specialty like an elevator technician, there's huge demand for construction in the workforce. And we do have an aging workforce as it relates to the trades. And as they retire, we need skilled workers to replace them. We can all agree that calling an electrician, plumber, or an AC repairman to come out can be very expensive. I know I've replaced 2 units on my house, and they each came in at about $3,000 a piece. And so part of that is for the actual installation of that. So imagine having the skills that you would need to be that plumber, to be that AC repairman, to be that elevator repairman. Mark Schoeneman, business manager of the local chapter of the International Operating Union of Engineers, now is going to explain apprenticeships for us as a path to a great career.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Mark Schoeneman. I'm a business manager of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 47, and also president of the South Florida Building Trades. Going to talk about apprenticeship and apprenticeship training, and I'm a product of it. I came through a 4-year apprenticeship program for operating engineers, which was heavy equipment, crane operators, the ones you see on top of the buildings, and that's such. It's a 4-year degree. For me, I was in college, took off in the summer. That wasn't going to be my career path my parents had for me or anybody, but in the summer, I worked as an apprentice in operating engineers, and I loved it so much, and I liked working with my hands, that I ended up staying with it. I dropped out, went back, and did this for a living, made a great living at it, and I was always able to provide for my family. If you're one of those people that likes to work with your hands and it comes easy to something you enjoy, I'd highly recommend it. You can make good money, you get free education. You don't have a huge education bills like you do in college, and you learn on the job. So basically you work with an employer, and then you have a sponsor, whether it be operating engineers like myself. You got electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, elevator constructors, carpenters, ironworkers. There's a multitude of trades in there, and there's a high demand for these type of trades. Employers are looking for the qualified people to come through these programs so they have a workforce for the future. It's technical, some of the AC systems and stuff like that. Elevator constructors, it's high-tech stuff, so it's not like you would think of an apprenticeship program, but it's just like any other college or university to that level, that degree. You would graduate after 4 years, you would get that certificate, whatever trade you're in, a licensed trade, so you have a license. That's portable. You can go anywhere in the country once you have that degree, just like any other degree. And for me, I went on and finished, I became an apprenticeship director. I went on, got my bachelor's in education, and later on I moved into the business side, manager side of it, and got my master's. So, you can do those type of things after the fact. A lot of people that come through apprenticeship are supervisors, foremen. A lot of them own their own businesses now. A lot of most successful contractors came to an apprenticeship program. So it provides a good pathway. So if you're one of those people that if accounting or something like that, IT doesn't strike your interest, you have no interest of it, you enjoy working with your hands and learning these things and building things, this is a great trade to go into. I would highly recommend it. And there's a lot of opportunities out there because skilled trades is in demand right now. So I would, if anybody's entertaining that thought, please do. Check it out on apprenticeship. On Florida State has all the apprenticeship programs. Broward County has more apprenticeship programs than anywhere in the state. So it's a great opportunity here in Broward County. So.
Thanks so much, Mark. One of my best friends in high school, I went one direction and he went another direction. He wanted to become a carpenter. So he did the carpentry program, and he's had his own business now almost his entire life. And he has a heck of a lot more private time than I have as chamber president, and has a couple of boats and has a couple of houses and all of that. So you can do it and you can make a lot of money and you can get that American dream doing something that's all about passion. But many of the jobs that Mark touched on, those are all on the land. So we want to go to the sea and talk a little bit about the water. Learning a trade to help you work on boats and yachts and mega yachts can take less than 2 years and come with the added benefit of potentially traveling around the world. So Lori Wheeler, one of my directors and the vice president of Marine Industries Association for South Florida, has more. Let's hear from Lori.
My name is Lori Wheeler, vice president of the Marine Industries Association of South Florida. We are a not-for-profit trade organization focused on the sound growth of the marine industry for the benefit of our members, our local community, and the environment. We are the largest marine trade organization in the Southeast United States, and we are owners of the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Today, I'd like to welcome you to the marine industry, an industry that pays 16% higher wages than the average in the state of Florida. The marine industry here in our region, which is Broward County, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach, is a $12 billion a year industry that employs over 142,000 people. Many of these jobs are high-skill, high-wage positions that don't typically require a 4-year university degree. It's not uncommon for a young person to attend a trade school or a technical college right out of high school, typically 18 to 24 months, become certified in their trade by the age of 20, earn over $50,000 a year by the time they're 25, and by the age of 30, start their own business. One example of a very successful businessman in our industry is Bob Rossioli. Bob started as a bottom painter, no formal training. He worked his way up the ladder, and now he has one of the most successful, state-of-the-art, full-service yachting facilities here in Fort Lauderdale. He also later founded another company called Donzi Yachts. The point here is that you can start from the bottom. You just need to be engaged, work hard, show initiative, never give up, and pay attention. You too can be the next business owner. South Florida is the hub to all jobs related to the marine industry. Whether it's purchasing boats or fixing them, refitting yachts, we are known as the yachting capital of the world. Our industry is unique in that it has not only the normal jobs that you're used to hearing, such as IT, sales, marketing, graphic design. In our industry, these are all land-based jobs, and there are a lot of them. And then beyond that, you have the opportunity to work on a boat, cruising around the world. These jobs, such as a captain, a stewardess, a deckhand, a chef, an engineer, a mate, where you're traveling the world, you're gaining these experiences and adventures and earning a nice wage, all while getting the chance to save the money you're earning for your future. These boat and yacht specific jobs are ones you can get training for right here locally. We work with Maritime Professional Training, Blue Water Crew Training, the Star Center, Resolve Maritime Academy. Other examples of jobs within our industry are carpentry, welding, machinists, fiberglass technicians, engine mechanics, divers, painters, plumbers, propeller technicians. The possibilities are truly endless. These specific jobs can be taught here locally as well. We have multiple trade schools that we work with: Atlantic Technical College, McFadder Technical College, Broward College, Miami-Dade Technical College, Palm Beach State, and Sheridan Technical College. All great places to learn your skill and get certified in something that you want to do. The marine industry is an aging industry. And by that, I mean we need to hire the younger generation so that the legacies that were built over the years can still be carried on in the future. We need the next generation of hardworking individuals that can move into leadership roles and perhaps call that business their very own one day. If I can offer you one bit of advice, be on time, ask questions, show initiative, and don't be afraid to try things that are new to you. Get out of your comfort zone. Being uncomfortable is good. Be willing to do a job that's not yours. You might find something that you are good at and that you enjoy. One of the scariest things in life is failure. But remember that everyone fails at some point in their life. It's how you bounce back and not give up that makes all the difference in the world. Lastly, this past January, we proudly started the state of Florida's very first state-approved yacht service technician apprenticeship program at Atlantic Technical College. I challenge you to go to their website and look it up. I also challenge you to go to the saltyjobs.org website or to the Salty Jobs YouTube channel, where you will see the host doing all kinds of different industry jobs. It's a video series that we created for this very purpose, getting the opportunity to showcase what jobs are possible in the industry for people just like yourselves who are not sure, not aware of what's out there. It's a platform for you to educate yourself so you can open your door to opportunity. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Lori. Great words from Lori Wheeler from the Marine Industries Association of South Florida, one of our directors. Now, panelists, we're going to take a little bit of time, the last few minutes that we have here, we've got about 8 minutes left, for some comments. And we do have a bunch of questions. One question I do want to answer, and I don't have the answer to it other than to say that it would be, if I was hiring an individual who had a criminal record, it would be on a case-by-case basis. We'd have to determine exactly what was going on. But that was a question that I saw twice in the Q&A. Do you all have any comments on whether or not an individual has a criminal record and how they should approach this?
Well, most employers, Dan, will look at each case on an individual basis. So I think many employers are enlightened about that. They realize that, for example, that many of the offenses that are on somebody's rap sheet right now may relate to having drugs that are just about to become legal in this country. And so, you know, it just depends on the job and it depends on what the offense was. So, but my experience is that employers will look at each case on a case-by-case basis. You know, I just want to mention one thing. Several of our speakers have talked about owning their own company. And I think that's a real important distinction. We need to have the parents out there understand that sometimes it isn't about being the air conditioning mechanic, it's about owning the air conditioning company. And I've had many parents say to me that if you're in an apprenticeship or some sort of certificate program, that your income is somehow limited. Well, you know whose income is limited? Teachers, professors, governmental administrators, social workers, in fact, just about anyone in social or governmental or educational industries. And these are our largest employers in Broward. If you're out in construction, if you are in technology, your income really is pretty unlimited. And I think I want to make that point for the parents that are out there.
I think that's an important point to make, Mason. And it really is critical that parents, as they're counseling their kids, and Bob, as you're working with the students out there, they have a lot of questions and they want to be able to come and ask how they can get these pathways. Bob, how do you communicate with them about this? I mean, what's the process? Back in my day, it was I go to my counselor and talk to my counselor about where I wanted to go and how I'd find that path to the American dream.
Yeah, no, we continue to do that as well, but we work to expand and spread awareness and communication around this. So we have many sessions where staff will and we work with our administrations at each school to make sure that our students are aware of the career path opportunities that exist. And we don't just start that at high school, we actually start that at our middle grades, right? So we will introduce them to the career paths, what courses they have to take, what the opportunities are that exist in the marketplace. We have speakers come in, just like some of the things that we have going on here today. But, you know, we're really pulling out all stops to make sure that, you know, our students and families recognize that there's an alternative out there. There's real opportunities in the marketplace, as Mason indicated, and you shouldn't overlook that, right? Going to a four-year college can't be the ultimate label of success in education. It's really about pursuing what you have an interest in, recognizing there are other opportunities out there. You don't have to be way down and become part of the $1.6 trillion debt market. You can get out there and start earning some things right away. And I'll tell you that this pandemic and how it's impacted our economy and businesses, we know that there are many kids that are in Broward County schools who've now become kind of the main breadwinner in the family, and they're working out there on a full-time basis. And some of those kids, you know, they'll never really come back to any kind of traditional opportunity. What we're talking about here today are ways for them to continue to their education while they continue to work, earn their certifications, build their skill sets, and create career paths for themselves. And I think that's also great for the vast majority of our kids. So it's not one size fits all. And we try to make sure that folks understand that and they're taking advantage of those opportunities.
That's great information and great thought as we move through this. Now, Aviv, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to share with the group? Cecil, you'll be next.
Yeah, I've actually answered a bunch of questions online, but what I wanted to say in closing is that, you know, we have a very, very exciting industry. Obviously, look how far we've come since the Wright brothers' first flight. And who knows what the next 50 to 100 years will bring us. And so this is a really an industry that continue to advance. And where else can you get a technical degree, a certificate, not even not even a college degree, and make six-figure salary? I mean, this is a very, very attractive field. I said before, yes, we were affected by COVID, but you know, there are some repair stations that deal with cargo airlines, that deal with military aviation, working for contracts for the government, and we're not affected. As a matter of fact, they're thriving. We've helped with the GMA, we've helped in scholarships too. I mean, I mentioned a young fellow named Lossie Williams III. He was unemployed, he was homeless, he lived in his car. We gave him 3 years in a row scholarships. He's now an Airbus 320 pilot. We've helped people in their 40s that wanted to make a career change, and we've helped them with scholarship. It's never too late to get into the aviation industry, some of the other industries as well, but I'm here to talk about the aviation industry.
We know you're pushing for yours.
And we're here to help.
Thank you. And Cecil, closing thoughts.
Thank you for allowing us to address the group today. Let me just say that, you know, technology is no longer just an industry. It crosses all industries. As Aviv just said, technology is a key element of the aviation industry, always has been. So, you know, I encourage people, don't think that you have to go off, as Robert said, with the, you know, a four-year degree is no longer required. And the technology industry has been in the forefront of really looking at skill sets. And there's so many ways to get those skill sets. We have a great K-12 system here. A lot of sergeants are coming out with their certifications already and getting jobs right out of high school. But if you haven't done that, your opportunities are just endless. I'd like to end with a quote from one of our great leaders here in our community, the CEO of City Furniture, Keith Koenig, who always says,
I don't own a furniture company, I own a technology company that sells furniture. And I think that just encompasses that everybody has the opportunity to get into technology today, and it is going to move our economy in the future. So thank all the students and their families who joined us today. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out, techlauderdale.org. We'll get you to the right expert.
Thank you, Cecil. And I
Dan,
can tell Lynn is ready to say something.
Of course. I'm trying to look at a bunch of the questions coming in, and people are asking where they can view this if they have friends or family who didn't get to see it. And I wanted to say that it will be posted on the Chamber website, ftlchamber.com. And also the link to all of the colleges and all 8 campuses, BrowardTechnicalColleges.com, and then you can navigate through, find out questions about financial aid and the different program requirements. And thank you again for this opportunity to allow us to sponsor this really informative webinar.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of you panelists for being on here, especially Mason, you and Bob. Thank you so much as well. And all of you will be receiving an email from us containing vital information provided by CareerSource Broward relating to each of the industries we covered today. You'll also receive a link to this recording, so you won't have to go searching for it. And once again, thank you to Broward's Education and Workforce Development Council, its Chair Andy Fernandez, for all you've done in putting this together with your great council, and of course, Broward County Public Schools, Broward Technical Colleges, and CareerSource Broward. Thank you all for your support in putting this on today, and we'll answer as many questions as we can. You can always find us at the Chamber through email at info@ftlchamber.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the platform in the near future. We are adjourned.